Guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and yes, we have another Dino Valley set to take a look at today, and this one looks to be loaded with some really cool stuff. We've got ourselves some eggs and some baby dinos back there. On the left-hand side, we have, extras, weapons, all that fun stuff. We've also got ourselves what appears to be a pretty small Tyrannosaurus Rex, a human figure, as well as a vehicle that includes a trailer where our dinosaur is contained. As per usual, when it comes to these sets, you can see that we have the really cool box art here. I love these very cool cartoonish type images depicting Dino Valley. Of course, you've got that logo over here. And then up here, you actually have an image of this Tyrannosaurus right there, showing off the fact that there appears to be light and sound to the figure. And then if we turn the box around and we take a look here at the back, of course, we've got an image over here showing off all of the stuff that is included within. And then over here, we've got some more really cool images, again, of Dino Valley, as well as the different vehicles that are actually present here in that image. So let's go ahead, pop this open, and check it out. So now we've got everything out of the package and set up here in front of us in almost the exact same positioning, actually, that it was in the original box, which was a total accident, so that's really weird that that happened. But you can get a better look again at everything that is included here, as well as, again, definitely a better look at like the weapons and the baby dinosaurs and stuff, because these were kind of obscured in the packaging by these guys here, so you couldn't really see them too well. You can see that as far as the different dinosaurs go, it looks like we've got a Hadrosaur, Ceratopsian, which I'd imagine is like Triceratops, Stegosaurus, T-Rex, and then you also have quite a few different interesting extras in here. Some pretty interesting like weapons, camera, binoculars, that kind of fun stuff. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at all of this right now. So as far as our vehicle go, it's kind of like your standard when it comes to the Dino Valley line. They always have these kind of like off-road type Jeep-like vehicles that they usually include. And I think it makes sense to have this style, vehicle, because that would be the type of vehicle you would want for the terrain in Dino Valley. So it 100% makes sense that we would have this type of a vehicle. And overall, I feel like the detailing of the vehicle itself looks really nice. There's not too much coloration or anything to it as far as like color difference, but we do have like a gray for the upper area. There's also a gray here for the front, and then you have an orange for the primary body of the vehicle, and then you have a gray for the steering wheel, and then of course your wheels are black, and the interior in general is kind of black where like the seat is and everything. But it's pretty cool. You have some articulation, of course, in the wheels so you can move it along. I love the Dino Valley logos that they always plant on the vehicles. They're really fun. Also kind of give you that really cool nostalgic feel, especially if you are familiar with the Dino Valley line. If you're like me and it's something that you've kind of like been enjoying for years, the Dino Valley line has been around for a very long time at this point, so it's always so cool, so nostalgic to see that logo there. And you also have a really cool image here of a T-Rex on here. That's actually a really neat looking Rex. I never noticed that there's like ridges running over the top of it. Again, I love the fact that the Chap Mei line produces interesting and really stylized versions of dinosaurs, because this is meant to be a depiction of dinosaurs living in modern times with human beings. So I guess, they can get away with that. They can continue to have dinosaurs look however they would like, and it makes sense. But the vehicle definitely is quite nice. Very, very lightweight as well. So if it's something you're buying for your children, it would be a very, very fun set and vehicle to play with. You also have a trailer. The trailer itself is just a green, and then we have a gray up here. There really isn't much of anything else aside from, again, the black for the wheels. You can, of course, see that we have a hitch and everything that we can attach it to the vehicle. And then you can also actually, I believe, pull this down. It looks like it. Potentially, oh yeah, there we go. So we can pull the gate down so we can enter our dinosaur into the trailer, which is really fun. I always love things like this. Like if I were a kid, or when I was a kid, if I had a set like this, I would have been playing with this constantly, because I would have loved to have the ability to transport dinosaurs. And that's exactly what you have here with the trailer. Again, the sculpting and detailing aspect is pretty nice overall. It's definitely a fairly nice looking sculpt on the trailer itself, pretty much exactly what you would expect, so that is as well a huge plus for the set. Then you've also got your baby dinosaurs. Again, you have 4 different species here included, as well as an egg, so you can kind of take your dinosaurs off, place them in the eggs. And here's a look at the back of the figures. These figures are actually included in the Kid Connection sets as well. It makes me wonder if Chap Mei is associated with Kid Connection because they seem to share a lot of the same figures. And then you also have, again, all of the really cool extras that are included, like the binoculars and everything in this set, all of which, if you are buying this for your kid, you're obviously going to have to detach these because they can definitely be a hassle at times to get off unless you're an adult. If you're a kid, you're going to have a hard time. An adult would be, pretty simple. They'd be able to do that quite easily, I would imagine. And then we've got ourselves the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and again, they do have a much larger T-Rex. This is a much smaller T-Rex, or at least I think they do. I don't know if the older one is actually still for sale anymore, but I know they did have a larger one. Actually, they definitely do, because I reviewed a larger version of the T-Rex not long ago here on the channel. I don't know what I'm thinking. But we have a much smaller version of this Rex, and, it pretty much looks just like you would expect when it comes to a Chap Mei sculpt. They always have really nice-looking scale detail on their figures. You can see the scale detail here in the face is really nice, like beautiful looking, very vibrant scale detail. You've got a lot of osteoderms on the lower jaw of the T-Rex. You've got the teeth painted there with a white. The mouth is articulated. I wasn't sure if that was going to set off the action feature. There's not really too much detail-wise going on the inside of the mouth, but the jaw definitely articulates fairly nicely. It doesn't close all the way, but it does articulate. You do have the nostrils right there. The eyes are a red, and they also have that kind of shiny plastic look, sort of giving that wet look to the eye like you would expect, but the eye is a red coloration because it has a plastic for the light to shine through, but because it's that plastic look, it also kind of has that eye shine that you would like to see. You can see a pretty nice rough and rugged look for the upper side of the T-Rex. Pretty nice looking, pretty appealing looking coloration for the Tyrannosaur, as well as we have like a light gray for the majority of the body with a darker brown here leading down from the top and kind of splotching in the face. As you move down, you've got some more really nice scale detail in the neck, a few skin folds and skin wrinkles and stuff. You've got kind of like an armored look to the top of the neck as well. And then you also have some more osteoderms that start to show up. Really big osteoderms here in the upper back of the dinosaur. You can also see kind of like a line of, I don't know if you would call those scoots or ridges there running along the spinal column of the Rex as well. More gorgeous skin texture here in the stomach region. You can also see some nice muscle definition in the arm right there. Kind of an injury right here as well. And what's neat about that is you have the injury, and that's actually where you press the button for the dinosaur to roar. So it's almost like you're poking his injury, which is causing him to scream. Pretty clever on the part of Chap Mei. You've also got articulated arms, which, yes, both articulate very nicely. Really, really smooth articulation there. You've got articulated legs, which also work really nicely. Like, that can get a pretty far run going on for the Tyrannosaur. You can see some nice muscle definition in the thigh as well. Some more injuries. You have like two slits right there in the leg of the dinosaur. You've got the kneecap there in the front. Moving down the calf muscle. Again, fantastic scale detail down through the course of the figure. You also have a scoot-like appearance running down the toes. A lot of the figures that are like this have the same similar style of foot sculpt where the toes are all kind of held together and then they're kind of like opened on the inside of the legs. That's something that Chap Mei has been doing for a little while now. And you've also got the dew claw here on the back of the foot. And then as you lead up here, again, some more skin wrinkles, some more spots and stuff, some more of those osteoderms, and you can see the tail leans upward and then curves down in an interesting and quite nice looking positioning. Over here, there's not really going to be too much difference as far as the sculpt goes because the dinosaur's pretty much straightforward, kind of in a neutral position minus the legs. The legs, you can see the leg is trailing here on this side, leading on the opposing side. But this side, we do have screw holes as well as the battery compartment and an open area for the sound to escape from. But, I mean, on a figure this small, that's something that I'm not too surprised by because you have to find areas for the, battery compartment and everything. Usually, like, you almost always have that. When you have a dinosaur with sound, they often have that kind of thing on the side where you can have the sound come out of. And then, of course, the screw holes are something you also see on most Chap Mei figures. That's just the way they've always been. And the battery compartment, I would have preferred to have been on the underside, but there's not really a whole lot of room down here. The dinosaur as a whole is really quite thin. So, again, I can understand why it would be over here. But let's go ahead and give this a listen and a visual. So that is a sound effect that they've been using for a while as well, and I do like that sound effect because I think it has that really cool kind of vintage, old-school dinosaur roar like you would see in a 1950s dinosaur movie. So that's the type of thing I grew up on, so I always enjoy that. And you can also see again that the eyes light up, helping to give our dinosaur an extra bit of evil to his face area, but definitely the type of thing I think kids would certainly enjoy. If you have a child that is obsessed with dinosaurs, they would love this set, but even me as an adult collector, again, being so fond of the Chap Mei line, it is still so awesome to me that they are releasing Dino Valley sets currently, and this is another pretty fun one. We also have the human figure, which I actually forgot to show off in the closer look, but we have actually reviewed this exact figure in the past from the Chap Mei line. This is a very common figure from them, one they use quite often, so considering the fact that we do already have a review up of it on the channel, I'm not too worried about taking a closer look at him, but he is extremely highly detailed and also includes some pretty nice paintwork throughout, so another really fun addition to the set. And as far as his articulation goes, you have the articulation in the neck, you also have articulation in the arms, and then articulation in the legs. They were a little stiff because they weren't moved prior, definitely stiff again, but some pretty good articulation overall. And of course, again, you have the articulated dinosaur, and then the ability to, let's get these guys out of the way, move the vehicle, which is really smooth, and then the trailer as well, which just latches right on there and also moves really smoothly. As far as a size goes on everything, we'll just go ahead and measure the vehicle here first. So for a length from the front of the vehicle all the way to the end of the trailer, we're looking at about 16 inches or around 40.5 centimeters. And then for a height on the vehicle, I would say a little over 4.25 inches or around 11 centimeters. For the T-Rex, who is now yelling at me again, put him right there. I almost knocked him over because the tape measure had to clock him right there. But for a length, you are looking at about 9.25 inches or around 23.5 centimeters. And that is one thing about this figure. It is insanely light. Like, I think it's hollow. Well, it definitely feels hollow. So it is super, super lightweight. And then for a height on the Rex, around 4 inches or 10 centimeters. And then the human figure, I would say, is about right there in that 3.75 inch range or around 9.5 centimeters. Pretty much like your standard human figure size range for this type of set. So for a size comparison, there is the older, much larger Tyrannosaurus Rex from Chap Mei, but I don't know that this figure is still in production. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know they do still have a larger T-Rex, but I don't think I have it out currently. I'm pretty sure I have it in storage because I just don't have enough room, unfortunately, to display everything in my collection. But this is a really popular figure from the Chap Mei line, so I thought it would be a good one to bring in and stand in next to these figures here again to help give you an idea of the size. And then for another size comparison, here is a Chap Mei Velociraptor figure. Again, a figure, if I actually move this out a little bit, but another figure that I feel like is a pretty popular one from the Chap Mei line. And then one of potentially the most popular of all time when it comes to the Chap Mei line, who has apparently warped legs right now, the Chap Mei Ornitholestes next to this set again, to further help give you an idea if you are a Chap Mei collector roughly of what the size is of these figures. So this Chap Mei Tyrannosaurus, I guess you could call it a tax set because it doesn't really actually have like a name associated with it as far as I know. I'll have to look that up, try to figure out what the name of the set actually is. But as far as this set goes, it's definitely another fun one from Chap Mei, and yet again, a very, very highly detailed dinosaur included. I love how incredibly highly detailed the Chap Mei figures always are. Like, they're always exaggerated. That's just kind of their style. I did hear rumblings of potentially more accurate dinosaurs coming from Chap Mei at some point, or more like marine reptiles, and I would love to see that. But I do still really love this classic kind of old school style of Chap Mei Dino Valley figure. Exactly the type of thing that my kid loved when he was young. I used to get these sets from Toys R Us for him all the time, and he was absolutely in love with them. And again, my love kind of began for the Chap Mei line then because I saw how cool the figures were, and I was always, of course, a big fan of dinosaurs, so it really drew me to them, and I found myself consistently looking for these sets back when my son was really young just to add them to his collection to help him acquire more Chap Mei figures, and again, that's really where my love for Chap Mei began, and it follows through to today, and this is another really fun set. I love the vehicle. I love the fact that it has a trailer attached to it, because again, when it comes to dinosaur figures, when I was young, having that type of vehicle that can interact with the dinosaur and having it, transported, that's a really cool idea. It's something that I feel like kids would love, of course, because I know when I was a kid, I would have absolutely adored that aspect to this set. And the vehicle, as well as the trailer, is really nicely detailed. Not overly complicated or anything as far as the sculpt or paintwork, just nice and simple like you would expect. The set also has a human character, which he is like your standard Chap Mei human character, which means he's really nicely detailed, sporting a very kind of army-like look to him, and pretty nice looking paintwork as well. And of course, he can fit in the vehicle to drive it if you would choose to, of course, use this guy to transport your dinosaur. You don't want the vehicle just driving around with a dinosaur in the back and no actual driver, just doing whatever it wants. So you would, of course, want your human character there in the driver's seat. And then you have the extras, which would be like the weapons and everything, as well as the hatchling dinosaurs. Just fun extras, of course. They're not the main event of this set. They're just the fun little extras you get with something like this from Chap Mei. And then you have the T-Rex, which is a pretty cool figure. Again, following pretty much that exact style of Chap Mei figures that they've been releasing for a very long time. Incredibly highly detailed, and that scale detail is so nice. It almost is like yelling at me to give it a dark wash so the detail pops even more. But it's a really nice looking sculpt. Again, not accurate to what a T-Rex would look like, but that's exactly what the Dino Valley figures are. They're not really accurate. They're just really cool stylized versions that they come up with, and that's exactly what you have here. And the paintwork as well looks pretty nice. They like the tones of color they've chosen. It's not anything overly dramatic or crazy as far as the coloration goes. Just nice and simple, natural overall. So as a whole, this is a really cool set from Chap Mei, and one that I definitely recommend picking up if you are in the United States like me and you are looking for Chap Mei figures. Sometimes it can be a little hard to find them. However, I do know that they stock the Chap Mei figures at Big Lots and Family Dollar, as well as Toys R Us, which I heard we were getting, but I don't know for sure if we ever did. I don't know of any in the United States, at least near me, so they may or may not be here. I have no idea, but I definitely know that, again, you can pick these up at Big Lots as well as Family Dollar. So make sure you check those stores, pick yourself up some incredibly awesome Chap Mei figures, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.